Hey everyone, today we're going to walk directly into the heart of a feeling we often avoid, abandonment. Picture yourself standing alone at midnight, under a cold and empty sky. The city around you sleeps, unaware of your silent cry for help, for a sign, for someone to hear you. Your chest feels hollow, echoing the ache of being utterly unseen. Are you there now, lost in that silent darkness, convinced no one hears your prayers, not even God Himself? So before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I'm doing here. I want to know you're here. Tell me your location, tell me your local time. Let's make this real together. So before we begin, take a second to like and subscribe, but only if something inside you wants more of God. Comment where you're from, and how long it's been since your last real prayer. Ready? Breathe deep. Clear the noise. Christ is near. Let's begin. You stand in what feels like a wasteland of the spirit, barren and silent. You lift your voice but nothing echoes back. Your prayers feel empty, your heart heavier each night you reach out into the void. You're afraid you become invisible to heaven itself, afraid you are truly alone. Yet tonight, I speak directly to that hollow within you, where abandonment has settled, where hope seems too faint to hold. Listen carefully, in this very moment, the creator of galaxies and grains of sand, the one who breathed life into Adam and placed eternity inside your heart, is closer than your next breath. Right now, while you feel unseen, unheard, He sees you clearly, hears every thought, every heartbeat. Nothing escapes His gaze, not your pain, not your doubts, not your silent tears. Your emptiness, the very ache in your soul, is precisely where He meets you. This abandonment you feel isn't absence. It's a sacred invitation from a God who has never lost sight of you. Can you dare to believe that? Can you hold this truth even when every feeling screams against it? When did you last truly believe you were seen, not by human eyes, but by divine eyes? Can you remember a moment when, even briefly, you knew unmistakably that God noticed you, exactly as you are? Go back there, just for a moment. Allow that memory, however faint, to flicker inside you like a tiny candle in a dark room. Even if it was years ago, or decades, or never consciously at all, feel it now. Because that memory, that faint flicker, is God whispering again, I am still here. I still see you. And it is not just an empty assurance or sentiment. God's vision penetrates all masks, all pretenses. He knows exactly who you are beneath your fears, beneath your wounds, beneath the layers you've built to hide from pain. Right now, He stands before you, arms wide open, not waiting for you to change first, not waiting for you to figure things out, but simply waiting for you to realize you were never alone to begin with. You see, abandonment, that deep ache of isolation, often blinds you to the fact that Christ Himself experienced profound abandonment on the cross. Not for His sake, but for yours. His cry, my God, why have you forsaken me, resonates deeply within your spirit because it's precisely where you now stand, on that threshold between despair and surrender. He felt abandonment to be utterly one with you, even in this desolation. And here lies the hidden message, the truth heaven longs for you to grasp tonight: your loneliness is already sanctified. Christ has entered it. He is present precisely in your emptiness. Do you feel this? Do you dare allow yourself to see the shadow of the cross casting its redeeming power over your darkest hour? Tonight, pause. Don't distract yourself from this pain. Don't rush away from this ache. Instead, gently and intentionally enter it, because there, in that very wound, you'll find His hidden whisper, softly calling your name. Tonight, kneel quietly. Don't speak. Don't perform. Just kneel in silence, and let your heart listen. Feel the gentle pressure of His presence around you, not dramatic, not loud, but quietly, undeniably real. You need no eloquence, no formulated prayer, just be there. In silence, allow yourself to be truly seen by God. Stop hiding. Stop pretending you're fine. Let every wound, every doubt, every silent fear be exposed, not to accuse or shame you, but because true healing can only occur when you dare to show your scars. God never meets masks, He meets real faces. And tonight, He meets yours. Dare to stay a little longer in that discomfort, because in it, you will discover something extraordinary. Your abandonment is not a void, it is a sacred space God Himself occupies. He's right there, invisibly holding you, silently transforming your pain into an altar of intimacy. From this moment onward, let this truth echo within you each time abandonment whispers its lies. Remember tonight, remember the quiet strength you discovered in silence. Because God's promise is clear and unwavering, He will never leave nor forsake you. Even when emotions fade and feelings lie, His promise stands immovable. You are known. You are seen. You are held, right now, as you breathe, as you doubt, as you ache. Your deepest abandonment is the sacred place He chose long ago to meet you, to hold you close, to whisper softly, I see you. I choose you. You are mine. Trust it. Believe it. Live it. Abandonment is not the final word spoken over you. Christ is. You felt it, haven't you? That aching silence, the unbearable quiet from heaven when your spirit cries desperately for an answer. You've questioned, begged, pleaded with God, why won't you speak? Only to be met again with nothing but silence. It seems that when you most urgently need His voice, He withdraws, leaving you in deafening quietness. You feel ignored, rejected, or worse, unworthy of His reply. But let me tell you something vital right now. Silence from heaven does not mean silence from God. Even when your prayers seem unanswered, when divine reassurance seems withheld, He may be speaking loudest. It's in the stillness, not in thunder or earthquake, but in that gentle whisper of absence itself, that God is sending a hidden, powerful message directly to your weary soul. Could it be, dear heart, that God's seeming silence isn't rejection but revelation? Could it be that He is already speaking profoundly, clearly, but you haven't yet learned how to hear His voice in the quietness? Think carefully. When did silence become unbearable for you? Was it always something you ran from, filling every quiet moment with noise, distraction, or activity? Consider carefully, have you perhaps been afraid to truly pause, afraid of what you might hear if you allowed stillness to remain? Silence forces you inward, confronts you with truths you've buried beneath busyness and distraction. It uncovers wounds you'd rather forget, doubts you'd rather deny. Silence asks you to face the very questions you have hidden from everyone, including yourself. Yet silence is precisely the language God uses to speak deepest truths into hearts willing to listen. Silence from heaven isn't neglect, it's a divine challenge, inviting you into an honest and transformative encounter with the depths of your soul. Have you ever allowed yourself to enter fully into silence, not briefly, not superficially, but completely, vulnerably? Have you dared sit with it until the noise of your mind and heart settles, revealing truths God placed there long ago? Silence is not absence. Silence is presence. God's presence is subtle, yet profound, never forced, never coerced. It waits patiently until you're ready to notice. He doesn't shout, He whispers. He whispers in the quiet ache that persists when everything else is stripped away. If you genuinely seek Him, this is the path. Not outward noise, not emotional highs, but inward stillness, silent surrender. God uses silence precisely to refine and clarify your heart's desires, to align them with His will. This absence you feel, this gap, is the very space He desires to inhabit. It's not a void, it's the room He creates in you to dwell more deeply than you've ever known. But you must stop resisting it. You must stop running. Your discomfort with silence, your impatience with unanswered prayers, might just be God's call to deeper communion. Instead of filling the quiet with endless words, distractions, or activity, what if you simply said, "Speak, Lord, your servant listens," and then genuinely listened? Are you ready to make that shift, to truly embrace silence as God's hidden voice? Tonight, take the risk of silence. Turn everything off, your phone, your distractions, your worries, and simply sit. No agenda. No pressure. Just stillness. Allow the noise of your heart to settle. Allow the restless thoughts to surface and gently fade. In that silence, ask yourself this simple yet crucial question: God, what are you saying in this quiet moment? Then remain there, patiently, even if he doesn't answer immediately. Because the silence itself is often his first answer, an invitation to wait, to trust, to let him slowly shape your soul. Tonight, don't rush through your prayers. Allow them to dissolve into wordless presence, simply resting in God's quietness. Let silence teach you its secret. Your heart is meant to be a sanctuary, a holy place where heaven's quiet whisper can always be heard. The world conditions you to fear silence, to avoid it, to interpret it as rejection or emptiness. Yet God invites you to reclaim it, to hear clearly what he speaks directly into the depths of your soul. Imagine the power of this truth: God's greatest words aren't always spoken loudly. Often, they are uttered in hidden, quiet spaces deep within your heart, precisely where silence feels uncomfortable or even frightening. In these quiet moments, God slowly reshapes your desires, transforms your fears into trust, and heals wounds you've carried for far too long. Silence is sacred territory. Silence is holy ground. Stop filling it hastily with noise or activity. Protect it, cherish it, allow it to change you profoundly. Each time silence confronts you, each time your soul recoils from that discomfort, gently remind yourself of this: the God who seems silent is actually more present than ever, lovingly holding you, patiently waiting for you to become still enough to hear his heart beating closely against yours. From now on, approach every silence not with dread but reverence. Know deeply that God is never closer than in moments he seems quietest. Hold this truth firmly: his silence isn't absence, it's intimacy. This profound stillness you fear is precisely the doorway God uses to enter your soul, inviting you into deeper trust and unbreakable communion. Learn to listen again. Tonight, recommit yourself to silence, not as abandonment but as divine embrace. Allow every quiet moment to become a whispered promise from the Father's heart directly to yours: my silence is not rejection, it is love in its purest, deepest form. Trust him. Enter silence boldly, courageously. Let him speak into your soul with an intimacy words alone can never reach. There is something profound happening in your heart right now, something deeper than simple sorrow or passing sadness. You feel as if the pain you carry is a sign of God's distance, his rejection, or his judgment. The weight you bear feels unjust, unbearable, cruel even. You ask why, over and over. Why me, Lord? Why this suffering? Why does this pain persist? But tonight, I ask you to stop and consider something radically different. What if your pain isn't punishment? What if it isn't a sign of God's anger or abandonment, but rather, an urgent invitation from the very heart of Christ himself? Your suffering isn't random, meaningless torment. It's a deeply sacred call home, a summons to intimacy, a pathway to the only one who can truly heal you. God never inflicts pain carelessly or cruelly. Every ache, every wound, every heartbreak you experience is transformed instantly when you realize it is Christ himself calling you back, closer than you've ever dared approach. Think carefully about your pain, the wounds you've carried so long you've nearly forgotten what life felt like without them. Perhaps they've convinced you God is distant, indifferent, or harsh. Perhaps they've caused you to withdraw, to grow bitter, even skeptical. Yet tonight, God is gently confronting your perception. Your pain is not his cruelty, it is his tenderness. It is his mercy, reaching you exactly where words alone could never penetrate. Pain forces honesty upon you, stripping away every superficial distraction, every false comfort, every lie you've embraced about yourself or about God. Pain clarifies. It demands authenticity. It exposes the fragile, hidden places you've carefully shielded from the world and even from yourself. Without your pain, would you ever pause long enough, deeply enough, to truly encounter Christ? Would you ever seek his face with the intensity, sincerity, and desperation your pain now demands? I tell you truly, it's precisely through your wounds, raw, open, unhidden, that Christ whispers his loudest invitation. He invites you to meet him not superficially, but profoundly, at the very foot of his cross. Your pain is not punishment, but rather participation in the passion and redemption of Christ himself. The Church teaches you clearly, though often forgotten, suffering united to Christ is redemptive. It is not wasted, meaningless, or accidental. When your suffering is intentionally placed into Christ's wounded hands, it becomes sacred, transformative, a powerful conduit of grace. Your wounds mirror his wounds, your agony reflects his agony. You are intimately bound to Christ, your pain united with his passion. Do you truly grasp what this means? Your darkest moments are no longer meaningless, they are transformed into holy ground. Every tear you shed becomes precious, sacred, collected lovingly by the hand of God himself. Your pain is an altar, your tears a profound prayer. Christ does not stand aloof, he weeps with you, suffers with you, and through your suffering, draws you nearer to himself. Have you allowed your wounds to truly unite you with him, or have you fought, resisted, even resented this path of intimacy? Tonight, allow yourself to honestly confront your wounds. Stop hiding them, denying them, or covering them up with false strength or forced optimism. Pain demands honesty. Admit it openly, name it truthfully. Where exactly does it hurt most deeply right now? What wound feels most unbearable, most unjust? Tonight, bring it fully to Christ. Place your suffering not vaguely, not superficially, but completely at the foot of his cross. Imagine yourself there now, standing beside Mary at Calvary, looking into the eyes of the one who knows exactly what it means to suffer innocently, to endure unjust agony, and yet still to love passionately. Stay there a moment. Don't run from the pain. Feel the intensity of Christ's gaze, knowing he fully understands every hidden corner of your heart. Tonight, this is your call, to offer your suffering intentionally, lovingly, consciously back to Christ himself. Will you dare to transform your pain from isolation into intimacy? When you finally realize suffering isn't rejection but divine invitation, something extraordinary happens within you. Your entire experience shifts. Suddenly, pain becomes not an enemy but a companion, a guide leading you deeper into Christ's heart. Your agony, once meaningless and empty, is sanctified, dignified by divine presence. Christ himself occupies the wounded spaces of your soul, whispering softly but powerfully, "This pain isn't punishment. It's proof of my closeness. It's proof that your heart still beats, still longs, still seeks. I am here. You are not alone." What a profound truth, Christ never leaves you alone in suffering. He suffers with you, in you, and through you. Your heartache is precious, your tears sacred, your pain a prayer that pierces heaven itself. Tonight, embrace this truth. Let your suffering become a profound, intimate encounter with Jesus, who is always closer than you think, especially when the darkness feels deepest. Moving forward, every time pain resurfaces, and it will, don't recoil from it or despair. Instead, lean into it intentionally, courageously, and prayerfully. Every ache you feel, every tear you shed, let it remind you again that Christ's presence is never nearer than in suffering. Pain isn't an obstacle to God, it's your doorway to deeper intimacy. Tonight, I call you to choose differently. Don't merely endure your suffering, sanctify it, redeem it, transform it by offering it directly back to Christ himself. This single act of surrender will revolutionize your entire spiritual life. Your pain will no longer weaken you, but strengthen you profoundly, deeply, and forever. You'll discover a secret hidden deeply in your heartache. Christ himself waits there, lovingly, tenderly whispering his eternal promise. Your pain will never outlast his presence. Your wounds, placed intentionally into his wounded hands, become the holiest ground you'll ever walk. Tonight, make a choice. Consciously, deliberately, bring every wound, every heartache, every lingering sorrow straight to Christ's feet. Offer them fully, willingly, openly. Stay there until you truly hear his quiet assurance, "This is not punishment. This is not rejection. This is my heart calling yours home." Trust this truth. Believe it fiercely. Live it courageously. Your suffering has purpose, profound, eternal, divine purpose. Let this truth redefine your pain, reshape your heart, and radically transform your relationship with Christ forever. Tonight, you feel distant from God, as if a thick, heavy cloud stands between your heart and his presence. You stretch out your arms, trying desperately to grasp something solid, something certain, yet all you find is mist. Doubt whispers sharply in your ear, suggesting that perhaps this God you seek has withdrawn deliberately, vanished purposely. You ask yourself, has he grown tired of me? Is he weary of my wandering, disappointed by my failures? Am I abandoned because I'm no longer enough? Yet, within this seemingly hopeless fog lies another hidden, powerful truth: God is closer than ever precisely when you cannot sense him clearly. The cloud is not his absence, it is the sacred veil that hides him momentarily, that you might learn to seek him passionately, persistently, and wholeheartedly. Sometimes, God lovingly allows himself to seem hidden, not because he is distant, but because he desires your heart to burn for him, to long intensely for his closeness. The cloud isn't punishment, it's holy preparation, divine invitation, and powerful revelation. Take a moment right now to reflect honestly on how you respond when God seems hidden. Do you panic? Do you retreat into yourself, withdraw from prayer, drift away slowly because your senses tell you he's no longer near? Or do you choose differently? Do you lean into this absence with trust, determination, and stubborn faith? God hides, but never abandons. The hiddenness you now experience is the divine heart training yours, purifying your intentions, deepening your trust. It asks you bluntly, do you follow God only when he feels close, when your heart sings with consolation and certainty, or will you follow even when he leads you into mist, darkness, and silence? This cloud isn't random. It's carefully chosen, lovingly permitted by God himself. In this mist, he teaches you to seek him for his own sake, not merely for comfort, pleasure, or reassurance. He desires your heart, pure and undivided. He tests your fidelity, your courage, your resolve. And when you choose to trust him even within the darkness, you discover something extraordinary. Your relationship with God deepens profoundly, surpassing mere feelings and temporary consolations. You learn to see not with eyes, but with faith. Think now, clearly and courageously, when was the last time your faith truly cost you something? Have you ever loved God deeply enough to trust him even when he felt absent? To seek him passionately when his presence was hidden? Your soul longs for authentic relationship, one founded not on fleeting emotions, but on genuine commitment, unwavering loyalty, unconditional love. The cloud surrounding you now is precisely God's way of calling you into this profound, mature intimacy. He deliberately hides so that you might learn to reach beyond superficial comfort, grasping instead for eternal truth. God's hiddenness teaches your heart resilience, faithfulness, perseverance. It trains you in trust. It asks gently yet urgently, will you still choose me, even if I seem distant? Will your love endure, even if your feelings falter? These are not easy questions, but they are the most important questions your soul can face. God asks them precisely because he knows your capacity for deeper, stronger love. He believes in you far more profoundly than you believe in yourself. His hiddenness is proof, not of rejection, but of his profound confidence in your potential for holiness. Tonight, stop running from the cloud. Stop resenting this divine obscurity. Instead, enter it deliberately, intentionally, and prayerfully. God's hiddenness is sacred territory. It requires your reverence, your humility, your surrender. Tonight, I call you directly, approach this cloud as Moses approached the thick darkness on Mount Sinai, not with fear, but with awe, trust, and holy courage. Take off your shoes spiritually, you are on holy ground. Kneel quietly, enter the mist gently, and let your heart whisper softly yet insistently, Lord, even though I cannot see clearly, I trust you are here. Even though you hide yourself from my senses, I know you are nearer now than ever before. Remain there. Hold nothing back. Allow God's hiddenness to gently strip away everything superficial, shallow, or self-centered in your spiritual life. This darkness is cleansing. This obscurity purifies your heart profoundly, teaching you to seek Christ alone, not His gifts, not His comfort, but simply Him. Can you dare trust Him deeply enough to welcome this sacred obscurity, to embrace it willingly as divine love itself? Understand clearly tonight, God is hidden not because He has abandoned you, but precisely because He desires deeper intimacy. He longs for a love from you that is unshakable, unconditional, and enduring. The fog you resent is actually divine mercy, gently guiding you beyond shallow comforts toward eternal truths. It invites you deeper, closer, into authentic communion with Christ Himself. The hidden God is not absent, He is quietly waiting for your trust, your surrender, your willingness to persist faithfully even in darkness. Your present inability to feel Him clearly is precisely His strategy of love, calling your heart higher, purer, closer. Do you dare embrace this hiddenness as God's gift, not His rejection? Tonight, choose deliberately to trust God's presence even when obscured by clouds. Your soul was made not for fleeting feelings but for lasting fidelity. In moments when God seems most hidden, He is powerfully present, whispering directly into the deepest recesses of your heart, seek me now, not later, not tomorrow, but now, even in obscurity. Trust me beyond your senses, beyond feelings, beyond consolation. I hide only so that your love might grow stronger, deeper, truer. Each time darkness descends, remember this truth. Let it settle deeply into your heart, strengthening you profoundly. God's hiddenness is His greatest sign of trust in you, His profound confidence in your ability to love Him genuinely, faithfully, and eternally. Tonight, your practical step is clear: enter the darkness courageously, not retreating, not avoiding, but fully embracing it as divine invitation. Pray gently yet boldly, Lord, I cannot see clearly, but I trust you are here. Lead me deeper. Teach me how to love you even in obscurity. Remain there quietly, persistently, trusting deeply that the cloud will lift precisely when your heart has learned its sacred lesson, faithfulness. Believe tonight, hiddenness isn't abandonment, it is holy training. You were never closer to God than you are now, precisely because you cannot see Him clearly. Trust deeply, walk bravely, love unconditionally. Your heart, shaped in darkness, will soon shine brightly with unshakable faith. Tonight, deep within the silence that wraps your soul like an endless night, you sense an aching emptiness, a haunting feeling of abandonment. You whisper into the darkness, "Where are you, God? Why do you remain silent? Have I finally wandered too far for your mercy to reach?" This dark moment feels like a judgment, a final verdict, proof that mercy has limits, that grace has grown weary, that God Himself has turned away. But now, listen closely. The truth hidden deep within this very darkness is astonishingly different. Mercy has not withdrawn, it's closer now, in your abandonment, than ever before. In your bleakest hour, when you feel most isolated and forgotten, God's mercy is fiercely present, hovering intimately within your pain. The very moment you perceive as abandonment is precisely the sacred place where mercy quietly waits, ready to embrace you, to heal you, to restore you completely. Reflect deeply. When did you first begin to believe mercy had limits? Perhaps you think your repeated failures have exhausted God's patience, or your broken promises have finally driven Him away. Maybe your past whispers accusations, insisting your sin is beyond forgiveness, your shame too heavy for mercy. Yet tonight, let me speak directly into those lies. God's mercy does not depend on your worthiness, your performance, or your perfection. It flows directly from His unchanging heart, a heart passionately, eternally committed to your redemption. Mercy isn't something God merely offers, it's His very nature, His deepest identity. God cannot withhold mercy because he cannot withhold himself. His mercy is infinite, relentless, endlessly patient, ever pursuing. And so, in your darkness tonight, in your feeling of abandonment, his mercy quietly stands guard, waiting patiently for you to turn, to notice, to finally surrender fully into its healing embrace. Imagine mercy as the gentle hand of Christ, silently waiting for permission to touch your deepest wounds, the hidden places you fiercely protect. You've believed wrongly that mercy requires you first to clean yourself up, to become acceptable, lovable, worthy enough. Yet mercy never waits for your worthiness, only your willingness. Tonight, mercy stands quietly yet powerfully within your abandonment, gently inviting you to stop resisting, stop hiding, and finally allow God's unconditional love to penetrate your heart completely. Can you dare trust this truth tonight? Can you dare believe, even tentatively, that precisely in this moment of perceived abandonment, God's mercy is more available, more powerfully real than you've ever known before? Think carefully about your relationship with mercy. When was the last time you consciously embraced it, not superficially, not hesitantly, but fully and completely? Have you ever truly allowed mercy to transform you from within, healing every hidden wound, quieting every accusing voice, dissolving every barrier you've placed between yourself and God? Your abandonment tonight is God's hidden message: mercy never retreats. It stands exactly where your pain is deepest, precisely where your soul feels most abandoned, whispering gently yet persistently, I am here. I have never left. I will never turn away. Mercy refuses to be deterred by your brokenness. Instead, it pursues you relentlessly, patiently waiting for your surrender. Tonight, stop running, stop doubting, stop resisting. Mercy isn't distant, it's intimately near, waiting only for your quiet, humble yes. Right now, I challenge you to take a crucial, courageous step, consciously place your deepest wounds, your secret shame, your most haunting regrets into mercy's outstretched hands. Visualize it vividly, unmistakably, Christ himself standing before you, quietly yet powerfully, hands marked by wounds of love, eyes gentle yet fierce with determination. Tonight, willingly and intentionally surrender your pain, your abandonment, your despair into his merciful embrace. Whisper honestly, vulnerably, Jesus, I trust your mercy more than my guilt, more than my shame, more than my doubts. Heal me completely. Stay there, quietly and courageously, allowing mercy to enter your soul, filling every dark space with warmth, healing, and hope. When mercy penetrates your heart deeply, something extraordinary begins. Your pain transforms into peace, your abandonment into intimacy. Suddenly, the darkness no longer frightens you. Instead, it becomes sacred territory, holy ground where mercy's presence is unmistakably real. Your abandonment becomes precisely the place God chooses to demonstrate the depth, strength, and permanence of his love. Tonight, experience this profound shift firsthand. God's mercy isn't theoretical or distant, it's powerfully present right now, intimately woven into your darkest moment, whispering clearly and unmistakably, you are not abandoned, you are cherished. You are not forsaken, you are forgiven. Mercy will never leave you. From now on, let mercy be the lens through which you view every moment of spiritual darkness, every experience of abandonment. Realize deeply and unmistakably that darkness no longer signals God's absence, but rather mercy's hidden presence, silently transforming your wounds into sacred opportunities for profound intimacy. Remember clearly, mercy thrives precisely where abandonment feels deepest. Mercy never retreats from your weakness, your failure, your pain, it seeks these places deliberately, lovingly, intentionally. Mercy whispers tonight, your abandonment is my sacred space, my holy sanctuary. Here I meet you fully, heal you completely, love you eternally. Tonight, your task is clear, simple yet profound: surrender fully to mercy. Kneel silently, honestly, openly before Christ, allowing his gentle yet powerful love to permeate your heart completely. Feel it deeply now, mercy is nearer than your next breath, more real than your pain, stronger than your fear. Let it envelop you entirely, dissolving every lie of abandonment. Embrace mercy fiercely, passionately, completely. Your darkness is not abandonment, it's invitation. Mercy awaits. Surrender fully tonight. Your life will never be the same. Tonight, in the stillness of your solitude, tears fill your eyes again. You wipe them away quickly, ashamed, frustrated, afraid someone might see your weakness, afraid God might be disappointed by your repeated sorrow. Perhaps you've even told yourself that these tears prove your faith is fragile, insufficient, lacking in strength. But hear me clearly, dear soul, these tears are sacred. They are not evidence of weakness or failure, but profound evidence of truth, honesty, and authenticity. Your tears are the purest form of prayer, wordless, vulnerable, utterly sincere. They reveal the depths of your heart, stripped of pretenses, masks, or hidden motives. In your tears, the truth of who you are and how deeply you need God emerges. Do not run from them. Do not deny them. Your tears are sacred messengers from your soul to the very heart of Christ. Pause a moment and reflect deeply on this truth. When did tears become something shameful, something to be hidden, something feared or avoided? Perhaps you were taught early to conceal your emotions, to keep sorrow locked safely away. Maybe life's harsh lessons convinced you vulnerability equals weakness, tears equal defeat. Yet, tonight God gently confronts this mistaken belief, speaking directly into your hidden shame. Tears are holy, tears are honest, tears are courageous. Your sorrow doesn't repel God, it draws him near, profoundly near. Remember clearly, Christ himself wept openly, vulnerably, unashamedly. His tears were never hidden, never considered weak or shameful. Your tears align deeply with his. They unite your heart intimately to his sacred heart, which wept profoundly, lovingly, passionately for you. Consider your tears right now, honestly and without shame. Why do you shed them tonight? What deep longing, hidden wound, or silent cry do they represent? Are you weeping for something you've lost, perhaps hope, innocence, trust, or joy? Are you grieving something deeply missed, maybe intimacy with God, freedom from guilt, or peace of heart? Whatever your tears signify, recognize tonight they are profoundly sacred. They tell the truth. They strip away superficiality, pretense, false strength. Tears say clearly, unmistakably, I am broken. I am hurting. I need you, God, desperately and completely. In this honesty, your tears become powerful prayers, wordless yet eloquent, silent yet unmistakable. Do you dare to embrace your tears tonight as holy, sacred offerings placed reverently at Christ's feet? Tonight, intentionally allow your tears to flow freely, openly, without shame or embarrassment. Do not suppress them or hastily wipe them away. Instead, let them fall gently, reverently, freely, trusting deeply that each drop carries profound meaning, sacred significance. Each tear is known intimately by God himself. Scripture tells you beautifully, God carefully gathers every tear, keeping them as treasured tokens of your deepest honesty, vulnerability, and longing. Picture it clearly now, Christ himself, kneeling gently before you, lovingly collecting every tear in his wounded hands. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is unnoticed. Your sorrow, your grief, your silent tears become infinitely precious in his sight. Do you realize this deeply enough? Your tears do not distance you from God, they bring you profoundly closer. They create sacred intimacy, powerful communion, profound union between your heart and his. As you weep tonight, feel deeply and clearly that your tears are a profound prayer, whispered directly from your soul to Christ's heart. Let them speak honestly, openly, without shame or hesitation. Let them tell Christ exactly what your words alone can never adequately express, your deepest fears, your hidden sorrows, your secret doubts. Your tears communicate powerfully, intimately, profoundly to the one who understands every nuance, every hidden meaning, every silent plea. Do not hide your vulnerability tonight. Do not pretend strength. Instead, surrender fully to the gentle yet powerful truth your tears proclaim clearly, I need you deeply. I cannot do this alone. Only you can truly heal me. Let Christ hear this honest cry of your heart. Let your tears become profound offerings, sacred prayers placed reverently at His feet tonight. Tonight, let your practical reflection be simple yet transformative. When was the last time you truly wept before God, honestly, vulnerably, completely? Have you ever allowed your heart to express itself fully, without restraint or self-censorship? Your tears tonight provide you precisely this sacred opportunity. Embrace them deliberately, intentionally, wholeheartedly. Do not rush past this profound, holy moment. Allow God's presence to quietly yet powerfully embrace you as you weep openly, honestly, courageously. Feel clearly and unmistakably His quiet assurance: your tears are not weakness, they are truth. They are courage. They are intimacy. They unite your heart profoundly to mine. Trust deeply tonight that in this honest vulnerability lies true healing, lasting peace, profound communion. From now on, let tears become not enemies but sacred companions on your journey toward deeper intimacy with Christ. Whenever sorrow resurfaces, whenever abandonment or loneliness threatens your heart, do not hide your tears. Instead, embrace them willingly, courageously, prayerfully, knowing profoundly that Christ waits eagerly to meet you precisely in this place of vulnerability, honesty, and truth. Your tears will always be sacred messengers, eloquent prayers, honest confessions whispered directly to the heart of God Himself. Allow your sorrow to always lead you closer to Christ, never further away. Tonight, embrace tears fully, courageously, profoundly. Allow them to speak honestly to Christ's heart, transforming your pain into sacred intimacy, your grief into profound communion. Do not fear vulnerability or weakness, embrace them deeply. Your tears tell Christ clearly and powerfully: I trust you with my brokenness. I trust you with my pain. Heal me fully. Christ will never ignore or dismiss your tears. He cherishes them profoundly, intimately, eternally. Your honesty tonight opens the door wide to powerful, lasting, sacred healing. Your tears become holy prayers, whispers of truth placed reverently at the feet of the one who loves you infinitely. There's a strange silence in the wilderness of your soul. Not the silence of peace, but the silence of isolation. It's that place where prayers echo back at you like whispers in a cave, where every effort to feel God returns void. It's not that you've stopped seeking. It's that the seeking has yielded nothing. The wilderness is not unfamiliar to God's people. It's the place where He led them, where He pruned them, where He prepared them. And now, here you are, no longer in the comfort of certainty, no longer in the green pastures of felt closeness, but in the barren terrain where faith is no longer a feeling but a choice. And here's what you must grasp tonight: the wilderness you find yourself in is not proof of your abandonment. It is proof of your preparation. God does not waste deserts. He sends His children there when He is preparing them for intimacy that the crowded comfort of routine cannot offer. When you feel most alone, most stripped, most tired, that's when heaven is digging the deepest wells in your soul. Why? Because what God plans to pour into you later requires space. And space is made when the world is silenced, distractions are gone, and the soul is bare. So tonight, ask yourself a question that could change everything: what has this wilderness stripped away from you? What false identities? What superficial comforts? What dependencies you once mistook for strength? It hurts, yes. But pruning always hurts. And pruning always precedes growth. The wilderness is never random. The ache you feel is the holy tension between what was and what's being born. You are in transition, between the person you were without fire, and the person you will become through it. The desert exposes things. It makes you confront your motives. Why do you follow God? For comfort? For blessings? Or for love alone? These questions are not cruelty, they are mercy. God is revealing to you where your foundation truly lies. In the wilderness, there is no one to perform for. No spiritual theater. No religious crowd. just you and him. And that's the point. He brings you here so that you might finally speak to him not as a stranger, but as a soul undone and desperate for his voice. Can you feel it? The invitation within your ache? Come closer. Talk to me, not about me, not around me, but to me. Have you done that lately? Not just attended church, or repeated prayers, but truly opened your soul, cracked your silence, and told him everything? Tonight, the wilderness is your cathedral. There are no pews, no stained glass, but it is more holy than you realize. Because it is here, precisely here, that your soul can no longer fake it. God is not afraid of your dryness. He is not intimidated by your emptiness. He enters your desert without hesitation, not to rescue you out of it instantly, but to walk with you through it intimately. So stop waiting for the feeling to come back. Stop delaying your surrender until the inspiration returns. Tonight, say something you've been avoiding. Say it in the wilderness. Say it now, Lord, I miss you. Don't cover it up with religious language. Don't water it down. Be real. Be raw. The wilderness requires that. He is listening. And this desert? It's doing something in you. Slowly, day by day, a deeper hunger is awakening. You're starting to crave what matters. You're starting to realize how shallow the noise was. The voices that once kept you company now fall silent. And you know why? Because they were never meant to sustain you. God allowed them to fade so that your appetite would be recalibrated. And it is. Now you long for him, not just what he gives, but him. That longing, though painful, is the sign that your heart is being restored. It's being purified, sanctified, strengthened. Can you feel it happening, even now? Let tonight be the night you stop resenting the wilderness. Let it be the night you recognize it as a gift, a furnace, a place of encounter. No, it's not easy. But it's holy. Every saint has walked through it. Every prophet was forged within it. Christ himself was driven into it before he began his public ministry. And now here you are, not lost, but called. The enemy wants you to believe you've been cast aside. God wants you to know you've been set apart. Those are two very different realities. One leads to despair. The other leads to transformation. Which one will you choose to believe? This week, make space for silence. Not the anxious kind that waits for a dramatic answer, but the trusting kind that says, I'm here, God. And that's enough. Walk into the desert without a script. No performance. No filters. Just a heart willing to be seen. Take a walk alone. Turn off your phone. Bring only your heart and the name of Jesus. Say his name slowly. Let his name echo in the wilderness. Let it be enough. Jesus, that's where the breakthrough begins, not in crowds, not in comfort, but in the barren space where he becomes your only source. And when he is your only source, you will never be empty again. The wilderness is not the end of your story. It's the middle chapter, the sacred space where your roots grow deep, your heart becomes real, and your spirit finally breathes again. This is the season where your soul is being forged, your faith refined like gold. Don't waste the desert. Embrace it. Let God do the work here. He is not silent. He is not cruel. He is crafting in you a strength that no storm can shake. You will come out of this wilderness stronger, clearer, more grounded, more his. The wilderness has purpose. You are not abandoned. You are becoming. You've told yourself the same thing for far too long, God's forgotten me. You've looked around at others, at their blessings, their breakthroughs, their answered prayers, and compared them to your stillness, your silence, your ache. You've measured your worth by visible fruit, and because you see none, you've concluded, I must not matter to him anymore. But tonight, let this truth cut through the lie like light slicing through fog, you were never forgotten. Not for one breath. Not for one heartbeat. Not in the days you walked away, not in the nights you wept alone. You are not a forgotten soul wandering the outer edges of God's affection. You are still pursued, still seen, still chosen. Even now. Even here. Even in this hour of apparent abandonment, God's hidden message is whispering steadily into the depth of your soul, "You are mine. I have not let go." You must confront this false idea that God's silence equals his rejection. You must confront the lie that because life is hard or dry, it means you've slipped out of his memory. That's not how love works. That's not how God works. God's faithfulness is not fickle. He does not forget. He does not misplace you. He doesn't put you down for a moment and forget where he left you. His gaze is unbroken. His attention is unwavering. His heart never stops burning for yours. When he called you by name, he meant forever. When he marked you in baptism, he sealed you. And that seal does not fade when your feelings shift or your faith feels thin. In fact, it shines brightest in the dark. Think now, honestly, about the stories you've told yourself in the silence. What have you assumed about God when things didn't go your way? What conclusions have you drawn about his heart when your prayers seemed to go unanswered? Was your image of God strong enough to withstand delay, silence, pain? Or have you quietly begun to build a version of him based on your disappointments, not on truth? These stories matter, because they shape your worship, your prayers, your posture before him. And tonight, God is lovingly confronting every false narrative. He's not condemning you, he's correcting you. Because he wants you to see clearly, you were never forgotten. You were never cast aside. You were never unloved. Even now, in the absence of emotional proof, something in your spirit is awakening. A small flicker of belief begins to stir again. Maybe he does see me. Maybe he hasn't left. Let that flicker burn. Fan it. Refuse to let despair snuff it out. Because what's being rekindled is truth, a truth that cannot be stolen, not by lies, not by silence, not by sin. The truth is this: your worth was settled on the cross, not on the scoreboard of your life. You are not forgotten because the one who holds all things in his hand carved your name into his wounds. He carries you not as a burden but as a beloved. You are engraved upon his heart, and no silence can ever erase that. You must stop interpreting God's timing as God's absence. Stop interpreting difficulty as disfavor. You are in a holy delay, not a divine dismissal. The enemy wants you to misread the silence and abort your trust. But tonight, say this to yourself, not as a hollow hope, but as a weapon of truth: God sees me. God has not forgotten me. He is working, even when I cannot perceive it. Let that truth form the foundation of your trust again. Let it rebuild what fear has tried to dismantle. Your prayers were not lost. Your tears were not dismissed. Every groan you've uttered in the night was recorded. And the answers may not look the way you expected, but they are coming. They always do, for those who wait in faith. This moment, this very one, is your invitation to reclaim your identity as one who is seen by God. Not partially. Not occasionally. But constantly, intimately, fully. The same eyes that watched you in your mother's womb are watching you now, with no less love, no less intensity. There's nothing passive about God's attention. He's not distracted. He's not stretched thin. His love for you is personal, focused, relentless. And the more you believe this, the more every lie of abandonment begins to crumble under the weight of truth. So tonight, take a real step. Do something physical. Write out the lie you've believed: God forgot me. And then cross it out. Not lightly. Boldly. Mark it out as if you were severing a chain. And beside it, write what's true: God has never forgotten me. I am his. Look at those words. Say them aloud. Let them strike your heart like thunder. This is how faith is rekindled, not with grand gestures, but with simple, fierce decisions to stand on truth even when feelings falter. Then kneel. Just kneel. Not as a show, but as a surrender. Let your posture say what words cannot. Lord, I return to your gaze. I believe you still see me. I trust you haven't turned away. And in that surrender, something will shift. Not all the answers may come tonight. But clarity will. Peace will. And peace is not the absence of questions, it's the presence of the one who has always known the answers. God hasn't let you slip from his hands. You were never invisible. You were never an afterthought. You are still the beloved. Still the called. Still the one he chooses, day after day, even when you can't feel it. Let that truth burn tonight like a fire in your chest. Let it melt every cold lie that's lingered too long. You are not forgotten. You are not lost. You are not alone. And you never were. There's a painful truth you've been avoiding, maybe without even knowing it. You say God feels far away. You say you feel abandoned. But tonight, I ask you plainly, have you drifted? Has your heart wandered while your mouth still speaks his name? Has the flame gone dim, not because he moved, but because you did? This is not a condemnation, it's a wake-up call. God hasn't gone anywhere. But you may have. Slowly, subtly, through distractions, doubts, disobedience, or even disappointment, you may have stepped back. And now, what feels like abandonment is often the echo of your own absence. When you say, God, where are you? Heaven gently replies, child, where have you gone? Pause. Don't rush past this. Let the honesty land. When was the last time you sat with God not to receive, but to repent? Not to demand answers, but to return home? It's easy to blame the silence on him, but what if the silence has been waiting on your return? What if the ache you feel is not punishment, but the consequence of being far from your source? You were made for communion. You were made to walk closely, intimately, continually with the living God. Any distance between your heart and his creates suffering, not because he is cruel, but because your soul is gasping for the one it was created to dwell with. Have you grown content with that distance? Or will you finally do what your soul has longed for? Will you return? This is not about shame. It's about recognition. You cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge. The prodigal son didn't find peace in the far country, and neither will you. But the beauty of grace is this: the moment you turn around, the Father runs. He doesn't wait. He doesn't lecture. He runs. But you must turn. That is the hidden message in your abandonment. It's not the Father's absence. It's his cry for your return. And he's been waiting, watching, longing, even while you wandered. Right now, in this very moment, if you turn your heart even slightly toward him, heaven moves. The angels prepare celebration. The Father prepares embrace. But you must stop pretending you haven't moved. So how did it happen? When did your heart begin to drift? Was it after a heartbreak? After a prayer went unanswered? After you let bitterness linger a little too long? Sometimes the drift isn't dramatic, it's slow. Neglecting prayer. Choosing convenience. Tolerating sin. You didn't wake up one day and renounce God, you just began walking further than you realized. And now the silence you feel is less about God withholding himself, and more about you turning the volume down on his voice. Tonight, you are being called, firmly, lovingly, to reverse that drift. Not through performance. Not through guilt. But through humility and truth. God does not require a perfect return, only a real one. He's not demanding a polished prayer or a flawless confession. He's just asking for a turning. A single act of the will. Lord, I've wandered. But I want to come back. That's it. That small phrase can shatter the illusion of abandonment forever. Because when you turn, you don't find a cold reception, you find fire. You find mercy running. You find a Father undeterred by your distance. Let that sink in. The silence you feel now is not divine cruelty. It's the ache of being away from home. And tonight, the door is wide open. The table is set. The invitation is on the table. Ask yourself now, when did you last confess? Truly, honestly, sacramentally? When did you last run back to the arms of mercy, not out of fear, but out of longing? The sacrament of reconciliation is not a formality. It's not a box to check. It's an encounter, a powerful collision between your brokenness and God's mercy. And for many, the feeling of abandonment begins to crack when they finally stop running and kneel in truth. Maybe that's your next step. Maybe your silence has waited long enough. Maybe heaven is saying tonight, come back to confession. Come back to grace. Come home. Your return won't erase every pain. It won't guarantee emotional highs or spiritual fireworks. But it will do something far more important, it will restore communion. It will put you back in alignment. And once you're realigned, the silence loses its power. The sense of abandonment begins to dissolve. Because it was never about whether God had left. It was always about whether you were still near. The moment you return, even with trembling steps, you find him waiting, not distant, but embracing. Not angry, but rejoicing. So tonight, choose the courage of a prodigal. Lay down your pride. Lay down your excuses. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Now is holy. This moment is sacred. Whisper the turning prayer, Father, I've wandered. But I want to be near again. Say it. Mean it. And then move. Whether it's scheduling confession, opening your Bible again, kneeling beside your bed for the first time in years, move. God responds to movement. He honors the turning heart. He runs to it. He celebrates it. You haven't gone too far. You're not too lost. And you were never truly abandoned. You've just been away. But that ends tonight, if you're willing. The door is open. The Father is running. The silence is breaking. The only question now is, will you return? You've spent so long trying to hold yourself together. You've worn the brave face, whispered the right prayers, kept up appearances even while your insides collapsed in silence. You've tried to be strong. Tried to be faithful. But now you're exhausted. And under that exhaustion is a deeper fear, that your brokenness disqualifies you. That your weakness has rendered you unusable. That God needs strong people to do his work, and you, in your fractured state, are no longer worthy. But listen, really listen, your brokenness is not a disqualification. It's the doorway. It's the very thing that draws God in close. He is not repelled by your weakness. He is magnetized by it. Where the world walks away from the mess, Christ leans in. You're not disqualified. You're positioned. Positioned for mercy. Positioned for healing. Positioned for the kind of deep encounter with Christ that only comes through pain. You've cried out, why am I so broken? And tonight, heaven replies, so that you might finally be whole, not in yourself, but in me. This is not punishment. This is holy exposure. Your wounds aren't something to hide. They are where grace rushes in. The illusion of self-sufficiency is being shattered, and that's not cruelty, it's love. God doesn't want your mask. He wants your real face. The one that's been through the fire. The one that's trembling in the night. The one that can no longer pretend. So, what if you stopped hiding? What if you brought every shattered piece into the light instead of pretending they're not there? What if you finally stopped trying to be okay, and just were? Do you think God would walk away? Do you think Christ, whose own body was torn and pierced, would recoil at the sight of your wounds? Or would he draw near? Would he show you his scars and say, "You are not alone"? You see, healing doesn't begin with pretending you're fine. It begins the moment you kneel, hands open, heart bare, and say, "Jesus, this is all I have, can you still take it?" And he will. Every time. Without hesitation. Without shame. Without disgust. Because this is the gospel, God meets you not at your best, but at your worst, and he doesn't flinch. Ask yourself, why are you still hiding? What lie tells you you're too broken? Was it something someone said? Something you did? A moment you can't forget? Whatever it is, hold it up to the light of Christ tonight. Hear him say clearly, tenderly, but with power, "I died for that." Every crack in your soul is known to him. And still, he comes. Still, he chooses you. Still, he calls you, not despite your brokenness, but because of it. Because in your weakness, his strength is revealed. In your surrender, his glory shines. The world celebrates perfection, but heaven celebrates surrender. Tonight, let go of the need to appear whole. Let your prayer be messy, your heart be raw, your cry be unfiltered. Stop trying to earn your place in the kingdom by pretending you've got it all together. That's not what Jesus is looking for. He's looking for the honest. The willing. The broken who no longer trust their own strength. That's who he raises up. That's who he uses to shake the world. And that's who you are, if you'll stop resisting and let him take your hand in the dark. Make this your prayer tonight: "Jesus, I offer you my brokenness. Every shattered dream. Every jagged memory. Every wound I've tried to hide. Take it all. Use it. Redeem it. I'm done pretending." Then pause. Let that prayer breathe. Let it echo. Let it open something deep inside you. Maybe for the first time in a long time, you'll feel relief, not because everything is fixed, but because you've finally stopped faking wholeness. You've finally told the truth. And that's where freedom begins. You don't need to fix yourself before you come. You need to come so he can do the healing. Every crack in your heart is a place where his love wants to shine through. Every weakness you curse is a place where his strength can be seen. Stop disqualifying yourself. Stop saying you're not worthy. None of us are, that's the whole point. That's what makes grace grace. It's undeserved. It's shocking. It's relentless. And it's for you. So tonight, dare to believe this: your brokenness is your offering. It's the oil that will anoint his feet. It's the cry that will shake the heavens. It's the reality that will open the floodgates of mercy. Come as you are, not as you wish you were. Come broken, and be received. Come shattered, and be remade. He is not ashamed of you. He's waiting. He's ready. The moment you stop hiding is the moment healing begins. There is a sacred truth you need to reclaim tonight: you are still chosen. Even now. Even after the doubts, the distance, the silence, the sin. Even with the questions that still burn in your chest and the wounds that haven't yet healed. You may feel discarded, sidelined, unworthy of purpose, but heaven has not withdrawn its calling from your life. God's plan for you wasn't cancelled when you failed. His mission didn't expire when you broke down. The call of God is not so fragile that it fractures under the weight of your weakness. It is rooted in his eternal will, not your passing worthiness. You are still chosen. And not by accident, but by name, by love, by divine desire. You think your failings have closed the door to mission. That others are more qualified, more holy, more usable. But listen carefully: God has always chosen the wounded, the limping, the least likely. That's not just mercy, it's strategy. Because he knows that only the truly broken can carry true compassion. Only the humbled can reveal the glory that is not their own. You were not called because you had it all together. You were called because his power is made perfect in your weakness. And your feeling of abandonment is not disqualification, it is divine preparation. The crushing you feel has purpose. It's forging you into a vessel that can carry light others need. Don't misread the pain. It's not a sign that God has walked away. It's a sign that you are being refined. Look at your life honestly. How many times have you disqualified yourself in your own mind? How often have you told God, "I'm not ready, I'm too messed up, use someone else"? Have you silenced your own mission because of shame? Have you decided you're not fit for ministry, for purpose, for joy? Hear this, God never called you because you were ready. He called you because He is ready to do something through you. And the only thing that stops Him is when you believe the lie that it's too late. It's not too late. You haven't missed your moment. You haven't lost your value. The calling still stands. In fact, this season of abandonment you're walking through may be the very soil in which your mission will take root. God has been teaching you dependence. He's been stripping you of false confidence. You no longer pretend to be strong, you now know you need Him, not just for help, but for everything. And that humility? That total dependence? That's where mission begins. That's where ministry flows. You don't need to wait until you feel holy. You need to obey, even while you feel weak. Step forward. Say yes. Move into the mission God has already prepared for you, even if your knees shake. Tonight, ask yourself, what has God placed in you that you've buried? What gifts have you hidden because you felt unworthy? What dreams did you once feel called to that now sit silent under the dust of discouragement? It's time to dig them up. It's time to bring them to the altar. Maybe you're not being called to the mission field, but to your own family. Maybe not to a pulpit, but to your workplace, your neighborhood, your wounded friend. Your calling isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are, a living witness to the mercy of God in your own life. That witness carries weight. Your scars preach. Your surrender speaks. Your return from the edge becomes a map for someone else who thinks they're too far gone. And that is holy. So tonight, make a declaration, not of pride, but of trust. Lord, I believe I'm still chosen. I don't feel worthy, but I trust your voice more than my fear. Speak it out. Let the words push through the resistance in your chest. Let them rise through your shame. Speak them again, and let your soul remember, you are not here by accident. You are not breathing tonight because your time is done. You are here because heaven still has plans. And they are good. And they are real. And they still include you. Take action. Not tomorrow. Now. Send the message you've been avoiding. Open the journal. Pick up the phone. Sign up. Say yes. Move. Do something, however small, that says to God, I'm available again. You don't need to feel ready. You only need to be willing. God can do more with your humble yes than you could ever do with a lifetime of preparation. You are still chosen. Not tolerated. Not pitted. Chosen. Loved. Sent. God isn't finished with you. He hasn't shelved you. He hasn't moved on. He's been preparing you. And tonight, He whispers it again, not as suggestion, but as truth, I choose you. Still. The only question is, will you believe it? Will you step forward, wounded and all, and say, Here I am, Lord, send me? If you do, you will see things you thought you forfeited. You will walk in doors you thought were closed. Because when the chosen return, heaven moves. You've searched in so many places. You've chased peace in the noise, healing in the world, meaning in the moment, but nothing has satisfied you. You've knelt in churches and collapsed in your room. You've tried everything, hoped in many things, and still your soul whispers late at night, there must be more. That whisper isn't your weakness. That longing isn't a flaw. That ache is not emptiness. It's your deepest truth trying to break through the surface of your distracted life. And here it is, what you seek is seeking you. You're not chasing a distant God, you're responding to a God who has been chasing you since the day you were conceived. The hunger in your soul is the echo of his hunger for you. You long for him because he has never stopped longing for you. Do you realize that? Your desire for God is not your own invention, it's the consequence of his pursuit. Before you ever called out his name, he had already carved yours into his hands. Before you ever looked toward heaven, he had already set his gaze upon you. The very fact that you are still searching, still hoping, still longing is evidence that he has not stopped calling. Your seeking is sacred. Your yearning is not weakness, it's worship. That ache in your chest is proof that your soul remembers something the world cannot offer. It remembers a voice it once heard. It remembers the God it was made for. Tonight, ask yourself this: when did you begin believing the lie that your longing was unimportant, inconvenient, even dangerous? Was it when the world told you to be satisfied with less? Was it when people said you were too emotional, too intense, too deep? Maybe it was when nothing seemed to change, even after prayer, and you started believing that God didn't want to be found. But he does. He's never stopped drawing you, never stopped revealing himself in the cracks of your everyday life. Every longing you've ever felt for something greater, every disappointment that left you gasping, every hunger that nothing could satisfy, that was him, calling. Every desire you've ever had for truth, beauty, love, it was all God. It was all invitation. But you've settled. You've numbed your hunger with noise, with screens, with endless distractions. You've mistaken apathy for peace. You've confused busyness with purpose. And tonight, God is gently shaking you awake again, not to shame you, but to stir you. He's saying, I've never left. I've just been waiting for you to stop filling your soul with lesser things so I can fill you with myself. Will you make space for that tonight? Will you stop settling for temporary comfort and return to the deeper thirst, the one only God can quench? This is the moment for honesty. Name your longing. Name the deepest ache you carry. Don't just suppress it, offer it. Bring it to the feet of Jesus like the woman who broke her jar and poured it all out. Tell him, I want you. Even if I don't know what that fully means. Even if I'm scared of what you'll ask. Even if I've run before. I want you. That is the cry that shakes heaven. That is the cry that parts the veil. That is the cry that sets your heart free. And don't think you have to have perfect faith to make that cry. You don't. God doesn't respond to polished prayers. He responds to hunger. He responds to hearts that are tired of settling. Tonight, let yours be one of them. Let your longing rise, not as a source of shame, but as a sacrament. Let it lift your eyes again to the one who never stopped pursuing you. Let it remind you, you were made for intimacy. You were made for union. You were made for fire. And the fact that your heart still aches is the surest proof that it's not over. So here's your call tonight: go alone. Get away from the noise. Find a room, a chapel, a quiet space. Turn off your phone. Kneel. And say only this: Jesus, I long for you more than anything else. Wait in the silence. Let the hunger speak. Don't rush it. Don't analyze it. Just stay. And in that quiet, expect him to come. Maybe not with fireworks. Maybe not with visions. But he will come, with stillness, with weight, with peace. Because he always answers the longing heart. Always. And from this night forward, let your longing become your compass. Let it guide your decisions, your time, your conversations. Let it direct what you say yes to, and what you walk away from. Because when you start truly following your longing for God, you'll find yourself slowly, surely, unstoppably walking into the life you were created to live. Not safe. Not predictable. But full. Alive. unshakable. God is not far. He's near, aching to be known. And every ache in your chest is his voice calling, come closer. Come now. What you seek is not behind you. It's not lost. It's not for someone else. It's here. And he is waiting. There are parts of your past you still hide from yourself, memories you don't mention, mistakes you avoid, choices that echo quietly in the back of your mind. You live with a subtle tension, always trying to move forward while dragging behind you a weight you never fully released. And though you've tried to bury it, silence it, minimize it, there's still this one fear that haunts your soul: what if I've gone too far to be restored? But hear this with clarity tonight: restoration is real. Not theoretical. Not symbolic. Real. No matter how far you've wandered, how deep you've sunk, how long you've stayed away, God has never stopped preparing a way back. And not just a return to surviving, but a return to wholeness, to joy, to mission, to freedom. The cross didn't make forgiveness possible. It made it certain. The enemy wants you to believe your damage is permanent. He wants you to see your past as a disqualification. But God sees it as raw material. He is not afraid of your broken story. He already knows every chapter. He knows what you've done. He knows what you've avoided. And he still wants you. Restoration is not reserved for the almost good enough. It's for the lost, the shattered, the ashamed, people exactly like you and me. In fact, the places you think are beyond repair are the very places God is most eager to heal. Not just to patch over, but to redeem. He doesn't merely restore what was lost. He creates something better from the ruins. Ask yourself tonight, why are you still living like someone halfway redeemed? Why are you walking with your head down, your heart guarded, your soul unsure? Do you think Calvary wasn't enough for what you did? Do you think God's mercy only stretches so far? You need to hear this: your sin is not greater than his blood. Your past is not more powerful than his resurrection. The things you think disqualify you are the very things he wants to heal so they can become testimonies. Your scars are not shameful, they're sacred, because they tell the story of where grace won. But restoration begins with truth. And truth requires courage. You cannot be healed if you're still hiding. You cannot be restored if you're still performing. You must bring everything into the light: the addiction, the abortion, the betrayal, the bitterness, the lies, the unforgiveness, the secret habits, whatever it is. Name it. Not to be condemned, but to be set free. Jesus isn't afraid of it. He already carried it. He already paid for it. And he didn't do all that so you could limp through life with a vague hope of redemption. He did it so you could stand, clean, confident, whole. Tonight, stop running from your past. Let God redeem it. Let him rewrite the story. What if you started believing that nothing in your life is too broken for him to restore? What if you stopped agreeing with shame and started agreeing with grace? That voice in your head that says, "You'll never be free"? That's not God. That's the enemy trying to lock you in a prison Christ already shattered. The door is open. The chains are loose. You just have to walk out. So here's your next step: go to confession. Not as a ritual. As a rescue. As an act of war against shame. As a declaration that you believe the restoration of your soul is not only possible, it's promised. Don't delay. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Go. Let the words come. Let the tears fall. Let the weight lift. God doesn't humiliate sinners, he heals them. He doesn't lecture the fallen, he lifts them. And when you leave that confessional, you won't just be forgiven. You'll be free. Then live like you're free. Speak like you're restored. Love like you've been healed. You don't owe your past anything. You owe your future everything. The world needs your story, not your edited, cleaned up version, but the real one. The one where you were lost, and Jesus found you. The one where you were buried, and grace raised you. That story has power. That story will set captives free. But it begins with you stepping into the truth. Restoration is real, and it's yours. God is not hesitant to restore you. He is ready. Right now. Fully. Immediately. He is not watching to see if you prove yourself. He's waiting for you to surrender. The arms of the Father are not crossed, they're open. The door of his heart is not locked, it's wide. Come. Don't hesitate. Don't explain. Just return. He's already seen it all. And still, he says, "Behold, I make all things new." Not some. All. So tonight, give him everything. All of it. Your past, your pride, your secrets, your shame. Lay it down. Watch what he does. Watch what only he can do. He won't reject it. He'll redeem it. And you'll finally see, the broken places weren't the end, they were the beginning. The cracks in your soul are where the glory gets in. You are not too far. You are not too late. Restoration is not a distant hope, it's a present invitation. Will you take it? There's a battle raging in your heart, and it's not between good and evil as much as it is between control and surrender. You want God. You long for peace. You ache for freedom. But you also want to hold the reins, manage the outcome, keep your grip on how things unfold. You're tired, but still clenching your fists. And that's why the silence persists. That's why the feeling of abandonment won't leave. Because God isn't asking for your performance, He's asking for your surrender. Not the half-hearted kind. Not the religious kind. The real kind. The terrifying, beautiful surrender that says, "I lay it all down, my timing, my plans, my expectations, my pride, my pain." You say you want God's will, but you resist His ways. You ask for peace, but you won't stop striving. You cry out for closeness, but you guard your heart. It's like asking to be healed while refusing to show the wound. You cannot have intimacy without surrender. And you cannot experience the nearness of God while refusing to release what's in your grip. That thing you're holding, maybe it's control, maybe it's fear, maybe it's shame, it's the very thing keeping you from the closeness you crave. God's silence isn't a punishment. It's a call. A call to finally, completely, let go. What are you still trying to control? The outcome of a relationship? The image others have of you? The timing of your healing? The way your life should unfold? Be honest. What do you fear will happen if you finally say, "God, have it all"? Do you fear pain, failure, loss, humiliation? You're not alone. We all fear that if we surrender completely, we'll lose something we can't get back. But tonight, hear this: God will never take what you surrender and leave you with less. He always returns more. More peace. More freedom. More clarity. More of Himself. But first, you must open your hand. You were never meant to carry this alone. You weren't made to figure it all out. That pressure you feel isn't holy, it's heavy. And God is not glorified by your exhaustion. He's glorified by your surrender. Your trying harder isn't what heals you. It's your yielding that does. The enemy wants you to believe surrender is weak. But heaven says surrender is strength. It's the most courageous thing you'll ever do, to stop fighting God and start trusting Him. To fall into His arms without condition, without backup plans, without guarantees, just trust. Tonight, picture this: Jesus kneeling before you, not demanding perfection, but gently reaching out His hand. "Give it to me," He says. That fear. That control. That expectation. That outcome. Give it to me. He's not angry. He's not impatient. He's patient beyond understanding. But he is persistent. Because he knows you'll never be free until you stop trying to hold both the cross and your comfort. You can't have both. One has to go. So here's what you need to do: identify what you've been afraid to surrender. Say it out loud. Don't just think it, say it. Lord, I've been trying to control dot. Fill in the blank. Be specific. Then say the second sentence, and tonight, I give it to you. That's the pivot point. That's the line between striving and surrender. That's the prayer that breaks chains and opens the floodgates of grace. Then kneel. Not just in posture, but in soul. Bow low before him, not because he's a tyrant, but because he's your king, and he's worthy. Let your tears fall if they must. Let your silence stretch. Let your pride die quietly in his presence. This is the holy ground where everything changes. Not in the spotlight. Not in the noise. But in the quiet place where surrender becomes worship. And when you stand again, do so differently. Walk with open hands. Let go of the pressure to control what comes next. Trust that the God who sees every moment of your future is already preparing the grace you'll need to walk through it. You don't have to see the whole path, you just need to take the next step in faith. One step. One breath. One release at a time. This surrender isn't a one-time event. It's a rhythm. A daily returning. A moment-by-moment letting go. And every time you do, you get lighter. Freer. Stronger. Because the more you surrender, the more space you give God to move. And that space? That's where miracles happen. That's where peace lives. That's where the intimacy you crave finally becomes reality. So tonight, hear the call clearly: let go. Lay it down. Trust him again. He will not abandon what you surrender. He will transform it. And in that surrender, you'll finally find the closeness that control could never give you. The silence will begin to break. Not because God speaks louder, but because your heart has grown quieter. Ready. Open. Free. You feel empty. Hollowed out. Like everything you once leaned on has been stripped away: your strength, your motivation, your emotional clarity. It's not that you've stopped believing. It's that you don't feel anything anymore. The prayers feel dry. The scriptures flat. The silence deafening. You whisper, where is God in this emptiness? And the answer, though hard to hear at first, is profound: grace is hidden in desolation. Not just grace to endure, but grace that transforms. The emptiness you feel is not abandonment. It is the deep interior ground where God is doing his most invisible work. This is the desert of the soul. And you are not lost in it, you've been led here. God has brought you to this place, not to break you, but to cleanse you. To draw you out of dependence on emotion, into dependence on him alone. He is burning away what is false, what is shallow, what is sentimental. He is preparing you for deeper union, but he must first empty you of lesser comforts. This desolation isn't proof of his absence, it's proof of his nearness. For only those who are close can be refined. You are not being punished. You are being purified. Tonight, instead of asking, when will this end, ask a holier question: what is God doing in me here? In the silence, in the emptiness, in the absence of consolation, what new capacity is being formed? What deeper roots are being grown? Faith that is born in the desert doesn't wither in the storm. And that's what he's building in you now: faith that doesn't rely on sight, or sound, or sentiment. Faith that endures. Faith that believes even when the sky is black and the soul is quiet. That kind of faith doesn't come through comfort. It comes through fire. And this fire, painful as it is not consuming you. It's refining you. You must stop waiting for the feeling to return. You must stop judging your intimacy with God by how emotionally close He seems. He is not a mood. He is not a sensation. He is a person, eternal, faithful, present. Even in the silence. Especially in the silence. And His grace is not gone, it's simply gone deeper. You may not feel it on the surface, but underneath, it's nourishing you. Quietly. Slowly. Powerfully. Do not abandon prayer just because you feel nothing. That's exactly when prayer becomes the purest. When there's no reward, no emotional lift, and you still choose to kneel, you are loving God for who He is, not for what He gives. And that, beloved, is spiritual maturity. That's the grace hidden in this desolation. You are learning to love like Jesus. You are being conformed to Him, who cried out in the garden and heard no answer, yet obeyed anyway. Who hung on the cross and felt the Father's silence, yet surrendered anyway. This is not the collapse of your faith. It is the crucifixion of superficial faith. The kind that depends on goosebumps and good days. That kind of faith was never going to survive the weight of your calling. So God, in His mercy, is replacing it with something unshakable. Something eternal. So tonight, don't run from the emptiness. Enter it. Not with fear, but with reverence. Make the desert your sanctuary. Say the prayers you don't feel. Sing the songs you don't hear. Kneel in the silence and offer your nothingness to the One who makes everything out of dust. You are not disqualified by your dryness. You are being chosen in it. Chosen for deeper union. Chosen for eternal fruit. Chosen for a faith that isn't seasonal, but rooted. Let this be your prayer tonight: Lord, I don't feel You, but I choose You. I don't hear You, but I trust You. I don't see the path, but I know You are guiding me. Let it be enough. Let it be holy. Let it be worship. Because it is. Then, tomorrow, do not seek emotional highs. Seek faithfulness. Set a time for prayer, and show up. Even if all you do is sit in silence. Show up. Open the Bible, even if the words don't leap off the page. Show up. Go to Mass, even if you feel numb. Show up. That's how grace works in desolation. It forms habits that remain when everything else fades. It builds a foundation beneath your feelings. One that storms can't shake. And hear this, gently but clearly, the feelings will return. The fire will come again. But when it does, you'll no longer be dependent on it. You'll enjoy it without needing it. You'll rest in it without building your identity on it. Because you'll have something better, a faith forged in silence, strengthened in desolation, and purified in surrender. That kind of faith is rare. That kind of faith is unshakable. And that kind of faith is being born in you now. So press on. One day, one prayer, one breath at a time. You are not alone in this empty space. The God of hidden grace walks beside you. And when you reach the other side of this desert, you'll realize, you were never abandoned. You were never dry. You were simply being made holy. Doubt. It creeps in like fog, soft but stubborn. You don't mean to invite it, but it finds the cracks. You wake up one day and realize the certainty you once held has faded. You ask yourself questions you never thought you'd ask. Is He really there? Does He really hear me? Am I just talking into the void? And then the shame comes. Because you think you're not supposed to feel this way. You think good Christians don't wrestle. But let me speak directly to your heart tonight. Faith isn't the absence of doubt, it's what you choose in the presence of it. And God is not scandalized by your questions. He doesn't flinch at your fear. In fact, He invites it. Because what you're experiencing isn't failure, it's formation. Doubt is not the enemy of faith. It's the soil where real faith can grow, if you face it, name it, and walk through it with God instead of away from Him. The shallow faith you had when everything felt certain? That faith needed to break. It needed to be questioned, pressed, stripped of sentiment so it could become solid. Real faith is forged when you stop relying on what you feel and start choosing to trust what you know, that He is who He says He is, even when your heart is trembling. This is the mystery of spiritual battle, that you may not always feel God's presence, but you can still stand in His truth. Tonight, I want you to sit honestly with your doubts, not to be consumed by them, but to expose them to the light. Write them down if you have to. Speak them aloud in prayer. Say, Lord, I don't know how to believe this part right now. And watch what happens. God doesn't retreat from your honesty, He draws near. He's not looking for perfect faith. He's looking for surrendered hearts. He's looking for people willing to say, I believe, help my unbelief. That prayer doesn't disqualify you. It places you in the company of saints. Of apostles who doubted. Of prophets who wept. Of disciples who fled and were still chosen. Can you trust that He's not only okay with your questions, but that He actually welcomes them? Because it's through the questions that your intimacy deepens. Anyone can trust God in the light. But the ones who choose to remain when everything turns dark, they are the ones whose faith becomes a fortress. Your doubt isn't your ending, it's your beginning. The only danger is pretending it's not there. Hiding it. Burying it. Masking it with religious performance. That path leads to spiritual numbness. But when you bring your doubt into the light, you find Christ standing there, waiting, unafraid. And maybe, just maybe, your doubt isn't a lack of faith, but the stretching of it. The call to leave behind a second-hand faith and step into something real, raw, and unshakable. That's what the saints discovered. That's what the martyrs knew. That's what you're being invited into. Not blind belief. But brave trust. Not easy answers. But unshakable confidence in His goodness even when the road ahead is unclear. So tonight, do something courageous, pray through your doubt. Don't avoid it. Don't overanalyze it. Just sit before the cross and whisper, Jesus, this is where I'm struggling. But I choose you anyway. You'd be amazed what heaven does with a prayer like that. When you choose Him in the dark, that's when faith becomes holy. Not sentimental. Not shallow. Holy. Your faith may feel like a flicker right now. But flickers can light torches. Flickers can ignite revivals. Your weak prayer tonight can be the spark that starts a fire you never imagined. And as that fire grows, you'll look back on this season not with shame, but with gratitude. Because you'll realize, this is where your faith stopped being inherited and started being yours. From here forward, stop equating faith with feelings. Stop thinking certainty is the goal. Faith is the decision to stand on the promises of God when everything in you wants to run. Faith says, even when I don't understand, I trust your heart. And God honors that. Every time. Not by removing all your questions, but by walking with you through them until you know the truth, not just in your mind, but in your bones. This is your moment to stand. Not with loud declarations or perfect theology, but with quiet resolve. Say it tonight, Jesus, I'm here. I don't have all the answers. But I believe you are still with me. That's enough. That's more than enough. That's faith being born again in the fire of doubt. You are not less spiritual because you wrestle. You are more alive. And the God you seek is not hiding from you, He is walking with you, right in the heart of your questions. Let your doubt lead you deeper. Let it purify your faith. And let your faith, tested, refined, and resurrected, become the light that leads others home. It's time to rise. Not because you feel strong, not because everything is fixed, but because God is calling you forward. You've been sitting in the dark, asking, why? And now heaven is gently saying, what next? You see, everything you've been through, every lonely prayer, every tear, every season of silence and surrender, it hasn't been wasted. It was preparing you. Training you. Stripping away what doesn't last so you could carry what does. And now, even if you don't feel it yet, you're ready. You were wounded to be a healer. You were broken so you could walk with the broken. You were refined in the fire so you could carry the fire. It's time to rise, not as a perfect person, but as a willing soul. Do you realize what your pain has done? It's made you dangerous to the enemy. Because now, when you speak of mercy, it's not theoretical. When you speak of healing, it's not abstract. Your voice carries weight. Your scars carry proof. You've been in the pit, and you've met God there. And now, like Lazarus stepping out of the grave, you carry a story that cannot be silenced. You're not just meant to be restored, you're meant to be sent. And that's exactly what God is doing. He's not just healing you for your own sake. He's raising you up because there's someone else who needs to hear your voice. Think about it. Who do you know that's still stuck in the place you just came out of? Who's still believing the lies you once believed? Who's still hiding their wounds, afraid that God won't take them back? You're not the only one. And now that you've walked through the valley, you have the authority to reach back and say, I've been there. And I promise, He's faithful. That's how the church was built. That's how saints are made. One wounded soul walking back into the darkness with the light of Christ and a heart that says, come with me. There's hope. Your story matters. It's holy. It's powerful. But it won't help anyone if you keep it buried. You don't need a platform. You don't need a microphone. You just need a willing heart. A neighbor. A coworker. A family member. Someone, somewhere, is waiting for your testimony. They're not looking for a theologian. They're looking for someone real. Someone who knows what abandonment feels like and can still say, God never left me. You don't have to preach a sermon. You just have to live honestly. Authentically. Boldly. Your healed wounds are the roadmap someone else has been begging God to find. And don't be surprised if God starts stirring your heart for more. A new kind of mission. A new kind of obedience. Maybe it's ministry. Maybe it's leadership. Maybe it's simply a deeper witness in your daily life. But whatever it is, don't resist it out of fear. You are not the same person you were before. You've been through the fire. You've been through the silence. And you're still here. That means God has work for you to do. Not in your own strength, but in His. You don't need to wait until you feel qualified. You need to say yes. Now. So what's your yes tonight? What's the small act of obedience you've been afraid to take? Have you been putting off reaching out to someone, starting something, forgiving someone, or simply showing up where you know God is calling you? This is your moment. Not when you feel ready, but when you remember what He's already done in you. Your mission begins when you stop asking, am I enough, and start declaring, God is enough in me. This isn't about rushing ahead. It's about stepping forward in faith. It's about living like someone who's been rescued. Someone who has nothing left to prove, only love to give. Someone who's no longer obsessed with perfection but passionate about presence. You've seen the valley. You've walked through the night. And now you carry light. Let it shine, not for applause, but for impact. Not for recognition, but for redemption. Someone is waiting on the other side of your obedience. Let this be your prayer tonight, Lord, use my life. Everything I've been through. Every scar. Every surrender. Don't let it go to waste. Show me who needs what I've received. Say it boldly. Say it often. Then watch how God begins to move. Watch how doors open. Watch how hearts respond. Because when the healed start walking into the pain of others, heaven rejoices and hell trembles. You've come through abandonment. And now you carry the fragrance of someone who knows the shepherd in the dark. That's not weakness. That's power. That's anointing. And that's exactly what this world needs right now. Not people who pretend to have it all together, but people who have seen the bottom and found God still there. People who rise, not in perfection, but in purpose. So rise, child of God. Rise from the ashes. Rise from the silence. Rise from the pit of doubt and stand as a witness. You're not the same. And you were never meant to stay broken. You are being sent. The world needs your voice. The church needs your fire. God is not finished. He's just getting started. You've been waiting for a sign, something loud, something unmistakable, something that would shatter the silence and prove that God is still here. But tonight, I need you to hear this with your soul. He is already here. He has always been here. Not in flashes of lightning, not always in emotional fireworks, but in every breath you've taken. In every moment you didn't give up. In every whisper of, Jesus, help me. In every trembling decision to keep going when everything in you said stop. He has been in the silence, in the struggle, in the sacred stillness. Abandonment ends the moment you choose him. Because he never left. You just stopped noticing. It's time to stop waiting for perfect circumstances to feel loved again. To feel chosen again. To feel alive again. You don't need another miracle to convince you. The miracle is that you're still here. Still breathing. Still seeking. Still willing to hear his voice. That's enough. That's more than enough. Because faith begins when you say yes, even without the full picture. And tonight, he's inviting your yes again. Not to a vague idea of religion. Not to rules or rituals. But to himself. To his presence. To the real, living God who walks into the room even when no one else does. So let me ask you plainly, are you ready to choose him again? Not halfway. Not conditionally. But fully. Entirely. Eternally. Are you ready to look past the silence and see the shepherd? To realize that everything you've been through was never a sign of his absence, but a doorway to his presence? Because tonight, if you are willing, that door swings wide open. All heaven holds its breath when one soul turns and says, "Yes, Lord. I'm yours." This is your moment. Not a feeling. A decision. A holy act of surrender that says, even if I never feel another thing, I will follow you because I've seen too much to turn back. You're not standing at the edge of abandonment anymore. You're standing on holy ground. The same ground where Moses removed his sandals. The same ground where Mary wept and believed. The same ground where Christ rose and called the broken by name. You are in the presence of the one who knows you fully and still calls you by your true name, beloved. No title is higher. No label is truer. And tonight, he speaks it over you again, softly but firmly, you are mine. I am here. Now live. Yes, live. Live like someone who has been set free. Walk out of the prison of self-pity, out of the grave of spiritual amnesia, and into the mission waiting on the other side of your surrender. Stop clinging to the identity that says you're forgotten, unloved, or overlooked. That is not who you are. That never was who you were. You are a child of God, an heir to the kingdom, a temple of the Holy Spirit. You are not just a survivor, you are a saint in the making. The world has no idea the power of a soul fully given to Christ. But tonight, you do. This is your moment to reclaim everything the silence tried to steal. Your joy. Your calling. Your intimacy with God. Stand in it. Declare it. Live it. When the darkness comes again, and it will, let it find you unwavering. Not because you feel strong, but because you are rooted in truth. You've seen what silence can't steal. You felt what suffering can't erase. You've heard the voice of God, even when he said nothing at all. That's not weakness. That's resurrection. That's the unshakable, unstoppable life of grace. Tonight, one last challenge. One last invitation. Do not return to the old life. Do not pick up the shame you laid down. Do not entertain the lies you renounced. You've come too far. You've been through too much. The cross wasn't cheap. Don't live like grace is. You've been purchased. Now walk as the redeemed. Talk like someone who knows the truth. Pray like someone who's been heard. Love like someone who's been found. Because you are. Right now. In this moment. Christ is here. And he's not letting go. This is your commissioning. Not to a distant faith, but to a lived, breathing, daily, burning relationship with Jesus Christ. The silence is over. The doubt is exposed. The shame is broken. You are not alone anymore. You are free. You are known. You are called. So rise. And live like it.